Hello friends, this is Cindy Lyon from Greetings and Memories, and today I'm going to give you instructions to make this cute little hexagon gift box that has this really interesting closure on the top here. Pull it back open here and show you how that works. So you have these little tabs on the top, and then you just fold them in and pop each one behind the other. And tuck that last little one in there. And yeah, I just thought that was kind of cute, and I thought that was something that you guys might enjoy. So let me get started showing you how to make that. Oh, and by the way, this one was made with the Sand and Sea Designer Series paper from the spring, January to June Stampin' Up! Mini catalog and the matching Friends Are Like Seashells stamp set. But I'm going to make something a little bit more neutral rather than quite so girly. So I'm going to use some of our Forever Greenery Designer Series paper to show you how to make this. So let me set this one aside and let's get started here. So to start with, you're going to want to take your 12 by 12 sheet of Designer Series paper, and we're going to cut that down to 10.5. Whoops, I gotta put the arm out here on my paper cutter. There we go. And yeah, let's cut that down to 10.5 inches. And that's just extra. We'll put that aside for some other project. 10.5 by 6 3/8. So we go 6.5 and then back it up 1/8 of an inch there. And then this is what we're working with. And now we want to score that. So we're basically going to go 1.5 inch intervals across the length of the paper. So since we cut it at 10.5, we're going to do our first score at 9 inches. Then we're going to go to 7.5 inches. Six inches. 4.5. Oh, move that over a little bit. Yeah, so 4.5. 3 and 1.5. And I will put all the measurements in the comments below the video too, in case you didn't catch that. And then we're going to turn it, and we're going to score at 4 inches. And that's going to be the part that makes the blossom at the top. And then we're going to score at 1 5/8 inches for the bottom of the box. Okay, so put our paper cutter aside. We're done with that now. And grab my bone folder and burnish each of those folds. Okay, now that we've got all those score lines creased, we're going to go down here And this bottom right corner, we're going to cut that square right out. So take my paper snips and trim that up to the score line. And then here, instead of cutting it right on the score line, I actually want to take a little wedge out of that other piece. So I cut that at a little bit of an angle. There we go. I zoomed in a little closer there. I had it more of a wide shot so that we could see the paper trimmer while I was scoring, but now I'll get you a little bit closer view. So, okay, we cut that bottom right corner out, and then we're gonna go along here and cut on each of those score lines up to the horizontal score line. Okay, now that we've done that, we're going to go and cut diagonally on each of these top ones, and I am going to use a ruler and make a line here just to make sure that everything's straight. And I'm using ink just to make it a little easier for you guys to see. You might want to do it in pencil. But I'll tell you a secret, I am using an erasable ink pen so that I can get rid of any lines that show after I'm done cutting. There, so I have each of those marked. I'll go ahead and start cutting them. And then we're cutting this last piece completely off. And like I said, I did that with an erasable ink pen. This is, if you guys haven't ever seen these, this is the Friction, Frixion pen. And I ordered packages of them from Amazon. I like them because, especially when I'm writing something inside of a card, if I goof and write the wrong word or misspell something or whatever, I can erase and start over, and I haven't ruined the greeting card. Okay, now we're going to come back down here and we're going to cut this first little triangle piece off and discard that. And then this end piece, the reason why we cut that at a little bit of an angle is this is the piece where we're going to overlap and adhere. So we only need to keep, oh, I don't know, maybe a ½ an inch if that, and just cut part of that off, and we discard all of those bits. But before we worry about putting any of that together, here's where the trick of that hexagonal twist top comes in. We're going to take these and fold them down and adhere them like this. So I'm going to do that with glue dots. Let me grab those. I forgot to pull them out before I started. And so yeah, just fold those other ones out of the way there. And double check and make sure I'm getting that in the right spot. Whoops, it didn't stick. Let's try that again. There we go. Stick that one down. And there's that part. And now we'll go ahead and put our box together. And for this part, I'm going to use some tear and tape, double-sided adhesive, just because that's a nice strong adhesive. You don't have to worry about that pulling apart on you. And I'm going to just lay that down just inside of that score line. So they're starting to look a little bit like a box. But now we're going to fold these out and then flip it over so we can start putting the bottom of the box together. And I'm going to grab my glue dots again for this first one, just because I want to be able to reposition it if it doesn't go together just right. Because it's kind of the trick is kind of to get that first one, and then the rest of them will go together for you. So you want to kind of eyeball it and see if it looks like your hexagon is even, and push those together. And then we're going to go back to using tear and tape for the others. But let me double check and see if I've got this straight. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I'm thinking that bottom one will be all right. And we'll go ahead and switch to the tear and tape for the next one here. And then this is where I found on my first box that I needed to go back inside there and adjust that first layer to make it flat. So pull that back open. And there we go. And now the trick to putting this together is we're just going to take our first two and lay them down. And then what you're going to do is you're going to keep going around and tucking each successive one around behind. Tuck that one behind. And then we get around to this last one. We've got to kind of finagle it in there a little bit. And there is our finished box with that hexagon twist closure. And now to embellish this one, I'm going to add a little piece of our Mellow Moss linen ribbon. And then instead of a bow, I'm just going to tie this one in a knot. And I guess I could have made it a little bit shorter. I'll cut that off a little bit. And then what I like about this one is I kind of free those ends a little bit. It gives it a fun look. I don't know if you can see those frayed ends there. And then I pre-stamped the sentiment. This is from the Forever Greenery stamp set. And I used the Tasteful Touches, or I'm sorry, Tasteful Labels dies to die cut that. And you can see that the sentiment just barely fit. It actually bleeds off the edge a little bit, but I wanted to make sure I had a die cut that was going to fit on the side of my box here. So oops, I can need to scooch my knot over a little bit. And there we go. There's the finished box. So there's our finished box done with the Forever Greenery suite of products. Gives it a little bit more of a gender neutral look. And then that first one, that was done with the Sand and Sea products, a little bit more of a girly look with all the pink, little touches of yellow. And this one I used some of our white seam binding ribbon. So yeah, again, this is Cindy from Greetings and Memories. I will put those cutting and scoring measurements in the comments below the video for you. And if you are interested in purchasing any of the products that I used here today, you can find those at cindylyon.stampinup.net. And thanks again for joining me. I do hope that you will give this project a try and share your results with us. Thanks again.